the Cold War started just after the war. The Russians took Berlin, they took Berlin, and it was divided into 3 sectors. There was the American, British and Russian. And unfortunately, that's where the Berlin airlift came in, because the British, to get to their sector, had to go through the Russian sector, and they wouldn't allow it. So that's where the Berlin Air, where they flew over into the British sector, and that's when they built the Berlin Wall, because they occupied a lot of East Germany, the Russians, and you knew, how can I describe it? You knew that things weren't right. You know, it was a bit dodgy, but nobody never seemed to worry about it.
Right.
One incident, we went through in convoy through a little village, and a lot of my friends laugh. We was in convoy. I drove an American Jeep, and we went through this little village, and this old lady, a German lady, come running out, and she's waving her hands and shouting, "Ruskies, Ruskies, schießen, schießen," meaning Russians are here, shooting.
And they thought you were Russian?
They thought we were Russians.
Right.
And we laughed about it. Right, the Germans committed a lot of atrocities when they invaded Russia, and the Russians never forgive them for that. So they committed a lot of atrocities.
Yeah.
As you might know. And they went on and took Berlin, and it was the Russians that found Hitler's remains, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the bunker.
So
But they hid a lot of stuff, didn't they, Russians? There's one or two things, I can't remember now what they were, that come to light.
Right.
Because the Russians, I mean to say, what would he call, Burgess and Mac somebody, they went over to the Russians as spies.
They were spies, yeah.
So, you know, it was still going on, and like they reckon that, in my opinion, they said it finished the Cold War in 1991. But I think it's still there. It's hard to say that. I'm only going off.
Only going off.
I'm only going off bits and pieces of what I knew about it. But when you look at it logically, it all stems from communism, doesn't it? And they weren't a bigger man than Joe Stalin in that respect, was it?
What was everybody scared that was going to happen?
Well, to be truthful, you couldn't. If they were scared, they didn't show it.
Right.
The only time a lot of them were scared was when the Korean War started, and there were trouble starting in Korea. One of our batteries, I can't remember if it was 129 battery or 109 battery, went to Korea. It was either 129 Dragon battery or 109 battery. I might say we were on 25 pounder field guns, and like the artillery is in every battle there is. That's on the cap badge. Ubique fastet gloria ducum, which means everywhere with a right and glory lead, because no matter what battle it is, the Royal Artillery are there, the field guns, that battery.
So was there a feeling that war was not very far away?
Well, there again, if they did think it, they didn't show it.
Right.
Same as, you know what I mean? We as at Dortmund, all right, if a war had started, well, we'd have been involved in it, but the nearest ones were Berlin. That's when they built the Berlin Wall. If you remember, a lot of East Germans tried to escape, were shot.
Right.
They shot them. They had them big towers and all, overlooking into West Germany. And same as the West Germans, the British, they'd have their border and they'd be watching each other. It was an atmosphere that if war were declared, you were already there in Germany, because that's where it would have kicked off.
Yeah. So were you having to sort of do duties where you were a constant state of readiness and?
Oh no, we didn't carry. The only people that carried the weapons out was I think it was 129 Dragon Battery, who went to Korea. They carried the weapons about with them, but I don't know if you've ever heard of it. They had big Rhine Army manoeuvres. Did you ever hear about them? Well, the Rhine Army manoeuvres was a big manoeuvres. Everybody was involved. There was Norwegians, Americans, British, all the European countries. It was like war games.
Right.
And one time when we were doing that, my officer, he was a Captain Lee Emery then, but he was promoted to Major and went to Iserlohn, and I went with him. He was an umpire in it, so I was driving him about, and he had the armband on, and if something was destroyed, he'd say, "I'm sorry, you've been killed." And they would have to be out of it then for so long. During one time while I was there, these big Rhine Army manoeuvres, there was a tank crew. Now tank crews, it's very cold in a tank. Now when I drove that American Jeep, I had a tank suit. It was like a suit, and it zipped up the legs and zipped up the front, and it had a flap that pressed studded down, and it so to keep the warm, because my Jeep, I only had a canvas roof over me.
Yeah.
And the tank crew at that particular time, they parked the tank. They parked up and went under the tank to shelter, and unfortunately, it sunk in the mud. And we had some good laughs. And one of them, our Sergeant Major was called Sergeant Major Cope, and he had a big German Shepherd dog, Chic. And we was in the Black Forest. Now the Black Forest is vast, and it has little tracks and things like that. Now, during the war, the Germans, made stands, pockets of them, as they were retreating. And Sergeant Major Cope says, "Right, Andrew, here's my torch. It's night time, big manoeuvres. Here's my torch. Follow my light." So I started driving, put it in first gear, let it crawl. All I can see is torch, shining, a little torch, right in front of me. All of a sudden, bang! And my front near side wheel goes down in a slit trench, an old slit trench. His light goes out, I can't see him. So I says, "Where are you, sir?" "Can't see you, Sergeant Major." He says, "I'm sat on the bloody mudguard, you bloody fool." So every time I turned, the light turned. And the lads had a joke. They said, they nickname me Slit Trench Andrew, the only man to find a slit trench in the dark.
And do you think it sort of like had any bearing on, your life subsequently, you being in the forces?
it taught you a lot.
What?
It taught you a very lot, how to look after yourself. The old saying is it made men out of boys.
Yeah.
That was the old saying.
Yeah. What did you do sort of when you came out?
When I came out,
Yeah.
well, I've been driving all that time. When I went into forces, I passed my test, and I passed it in Germany.
Yeah.
I took we didn't get a licence, it was a War Department driving permit, it was a card.
Right.
And when you came out, you sent that to Chester. Oh no, they took it off you, sorry. They took it off you and give you a form filled in. And you sent it to Chester and they sent you a licence.
Oh.
We got a licence because I've been driving all that time.
Yeah.
They just took the war permit, war office permit, driving permit. It was just a card with the details on and everything. And they took that off you and gave you, I'm not quite sure, it was a pink form. I know it was a form with all the details on, and he posted it to Chester. They give you a lot of paper stuff, what to do when you get back in Civvy Street and all, all these things and that. And so I sent it off and I started driving.
Do you, like I said to you before, what do you actually feel that you got out of it, apart from sort of like?
Well, I've got a photograph there. I don't think Christina's seen it.
Right.
But when I was in the army, I've got my army things on, my trousers, and all I've got is my army pullover jersey with a belt on. My shoulders are like that. I was 14 stone.
Right.
And that's what it did. In fact, I finished up as a runner. I ran for my regiment, cross country, long distance running. I finished up doing that in the regiment.